Happy New Year, monkeys. I'm Eddie Braverman, that's Midas Mulligan Magoo, and this is episode 9 of Not Safe for Work on WallStreetOasis.com. This week we're covering bonus season, Goldman's deal with Facebook, and the national debt roaring past $14 trillion. Unbelievable. So let's get rolling. First up is a subject near and dear to all of us, and that's bonus season. The numbers should start emerging soon, and everyone's bracing themselves for what could be some pretty disappointing figures. In fact, profits are off, and some guys might even walk away empty-handed. The question I have is whether this is a one-off event or if lower bonuses are going to be the status quo going forward. Banks want to shift the focus away from the bonus culture, and one way to achieve that is with more guaranteed comp in the form of base pay. It's less exciting. It'd certainly be less motivating for a guy like me, but that might be the wave of the future. What do you think, Midas?
You know, I posted my thoughts on the subject a few weeks back and got quite a few of the, it can't happen and everything will be okay, give it time. I don't think it's going to be okay. I mean, reality doesn't go away, and if you stick your head in the sand and get fucked by everybody that passes by for long enough, you're still getting fucked. Nothing's changing. I mean, we still have a pretty much dead economy on a ventilator. The Fed won't turn it off, so the trickle down's got to trickle back up some ways. The banker bonus as we know it is pretty much dead. I mean, it's simply just going to get phased out over time, so Wall Street doesn't start screaming and moaning the way Main Street has been for the last couple of years. I think the one and only chance, and you and I discussed this before, of the industry surviving in the long run is returning to the relationship banking model, which means a high base and low or no bonus whatsoever. So as much as Hollywood wants to build it up and pop culture, the media, and the industry itself want to buy into the notion of bankers as these alpha male macho BSD guys, that's bullshit. Accountants, bean counters. That's what the game is. That's what it's got to come back to eventually. Everything has a mean reversion. I mean, look, face the facts, guys. Darla from the drive-thru bank on the corner can do your job. And eventually, when things start going downhill, this will reflect in the bonus structure. The boom times are over and the bankers have to feel like everybody else. But you guys are still going to make more money than 99% of the workforce, so I wouldn't really fret too much about the bonuses. So that's my thoughts on that.
All right. Well, the street is absolutely buzzing this week with the details of the Goldman Sachs Facebook deal. For those of you living in a cave, Goldman essentially did a private placement for Facebook shares that placed the overall value of Facebook at a ridiculous $50 billion. Two things you need to know here. First, if you think Facebook is going public in this lifetime, you're off your rocker. The last thing a guy like Zuckerberg wants is to have to answer to shareholders. Never happen. He only has to look down the street to Cupertino to see what happens when a genius egomaniac takes his company public. Apple went public in 1980, and shareholders threw Jobs out on his ass by 85. No way Zuckerberg goes down that road. Second, there's no benefit to going public now that Goldman has decided to bring the good old-fashioned bucket shop back. By controlling the private market for Facebook and other companies' shares, the glorious spreads of yesteryear are back for Goldman Sachs. What's a share of Facebook worth? Whatever the fuck we say it is. They've even structured the private placement in such a way as to get around the financial reporting requirements of private companies with more than 500 investors. So no one is even going to see the real numbers on Facebook if Goldman has anything to do with it. And I'd expect nothing less from those guys. Midas?
Jackass nation, with the carrot dangling in front of it. I mean, just another example of how low we've gone and how much lower we can still go. I mean, Facebook has no value, people. None that can be valued with any remote accuracy. I mean, you gotta quit chugging the Kool-Aid, switch to Four Loko instead. I think you'll do a lot better.
No.
I agree with you that Zuckerberg will never, ever go public, but I don't agree with the genius comment. I think Steve Jobs actually created something of value. Facebook, much like MySpace and Friendster and Zanga and all that other crap before it, is a jerk-off vanity mirror, period. A real bloody, messy, flowy period if you really want to get into it. But as far as the Facebook Goldman Hydra goes, this is possibly the greatest pump and dump in history emerging here right in front of us. And like you said, bucket shop is a great term for guys that aren't familiar with it. They should definitely do some research because that's exactly what it is. The best part, it's going on right in front of our eyes, and we're just going to eat it up. I mean, I applaud Goldman for being so gangster about it. I don't think the 5 families at their peak could have been this bold and brazen. But all good schemes do come to an end, and whenever we witness the fallout of this one, whether it's in a year or 2 or 22, heads are going to roll. I mean, if there's one marriage of convenience that I've seen in my life, which could actually lead to public hangings and burnings, this is it. Many will get shafted here, few will win. Mark my words.
No pun intended on the mark, huh?
No, never.
All right, well, we get some pretty staggering national debt figures this week. And to borrow a phrase from Aggravate in the 90% marginal tax thread from Thursday, the numbers have reached cartoon proportions. The U.S. roared past the $14 trillion mark like it was standing still. The debt ceiling has been raised 6 times in the last 3 years, and Geithner requested to have it raised again this week so that we don't go broke in March. This is a runaway train, guys, and all of you and your kids and your grandkids are piled into a crapped-out Pinto and stuck on the tracks a couple miles down the road. The 111th Congress added more to the national debt than the first 100 Congresses combined.
Damn.
Think about that. I mean, the government's borrowing almost $3 million every minute of every day now. And at this rate, the debt's going to hit $20 trillion by 2015. Whatever you do, find a way to protect yourselves. Diversify into asset classes that aren't dollar-denominated. Become a global citizen. Do whatever you have to do to protect your family from getting crushed. Because every American family already owes more than $10 grand to China alone. It's scary. Midas?
Not a Pinto, man. A Fiat. A shitty little Fiat. That's what we're all driving. I'd just like to expand on the cartoon notion here. I know I'm being a little bit graphic today, but I think it calls for it. It's more like a hentai movie than a cartoon, man. It's some giant tentacled monster stuffing you in every orifice, and you sit there going, hee 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 hee, you're so big, you're so big. Well, that's basically what's happening to us, and we're that character. I've kind of killed this point, so I don't really want to get into it because it deserves days and hours of ranting. But bottom line is, until we slash about half of our government spending on the federal and state levels across the country, props to the states who do it right, this pork rind pyramid scheme that we have of an economy going on is not going to change. Things are only going to get worse. And we can't even begin to have a serious economic discussion until those things happen, and we seem to be going in a different direction. Keynesians, like the commies they idolize, have been proven wrong by history a million times over. Yet they keep coming back, they keep getting votes, they keep getting elected, so you get what you pay for. I, for one, welcome my Chinese overlords, and will serve them very, very well. After all, the people flushing our futures away aren't Americans anyway. They're enlightened. So, that's pretty much all I have this week for you guys. Nothing to read, nothing to think about. I didn't really think about when we started doing this show that I need to be getting drunk as well while we're doing it, and I can't fit anything in here, so I gotta go do something productive here, guys.
Alright, kids. No homework this week. I actually had a really good book recommendation for you, but turns out my co-host is a lazy sack of shit and had nothing prepared for today. No matter. I'll save it for next week.
I have a credit card. I need no one.
It'll be even more meaningful then. Here's a hint. Your lard-ass Uncle Eddie is on a diet. Have a great week, guys, and let us know how bonuses work out. That is, of course, unless you work for Morgan Stanley and you're afraid Storm and Gorman's going to rip your guts out if you talk about a bonus.
I see my future. There may be a Timothy Ferris sighting.
Be safe, and we'll see you next week.
Take it easy, guys.